When I've heard, the concept of youth culture, I was excited because it's a lot of it resonates to me, my background and my upbringing. And I'm really fascinated by, the sort of Venice Beach culture, Havana culture, and just sort of, trying to understand how, we can sort of, these images can be portrayed in a space and come to life. Rather than an image being on the wall, how can people interact with the images and feel part of this experience? So looking at colour, looking at how people, dressed and how people sort of spoke, and all these elements, trying to sort of bring into the space and bring it to life. And also, yeah, the idea of how music is also quite powerful and sort of important part of the culture of youth culture, and how people sort of how they translate that into their own life. Colour is really important to me, and it's quite a prominent element in my work, and that all resonated from my parents. Being born in Nigeria and coming to London, sort of about 30, 40 years ago, and just seeing how my mum would apply colour to her outfits, and she did it effortlessly, and it wasn't, she didn't think about how to, she just applied colour, whereas I'd be thinking about, oh, there's red, gold, blue, but she would just wait on it, and she took hours, but she came out and she looked beautiful, so that was nice, and I think she always really inspired, my work and my practice, and how she used, colour in a really sort of simple way, but also really thought-provoking, but also said a lot about her and her culture, and she was proud to show she was Nigerian, so I think for her and for my family, it was church and going to parties was a big occasion. It wasn't just wearing black, you had to wear colour, and you wore colour with your friends, so it was also about belonging to a culture, that sense of belonging, and also not feeling like you're missing Nigeria or missing home, because they left their family and friends and to come to London to sort of start again and give us, my siblings, an opportunity. So for me, colour is important because it says Africa, it says Nigerian, it says proud, it says authenticity, it says richness. So all these things are really important in my work, and I think this for me was a perfect project, to try to explore and just see what I could do, because I think this project is amazing, and I think I'm learning new things as well, learning how to apply colour, looking at how people in other countries and apply colour and what colour means to them. So it's nice to work with colour in a different context. Yeah. I think this space when I sort of first came and viewed the space with Chloe, I was really excited for the fact that it's it's a Georgian townhouse. It's really old, and it's gritty. It's not polished. It's got narrative to it. And I think for me, when I work with old furniture, it's from the 50s to the 60s, and you try to unravel that narrative. So for me, when I came here, I was like, this space looks interesting. Who lived here, and what did they do? So trying to sort of go home and sort of trying to do research and unravel, who was in the space. And I think with the Cuban room, if we look at Cuban spaces and houses, they're all sort of really old and run down, and all that rustic and sort of that grit and grime, it's part of that narrative and adds to the character of that space. So I think it was a perfect fit for Cuba, and also a perfect fit for Havana. So I think it's the space works well, and I think it adds a lot of character to all the images, and also to the spaces I'm going to curate, and also it also adds value to all the things I'm going to bring into all the objects, and like the lighting, the seating, the furniture, the colour of the space. Again, all adds character and interesting narratives to this amazing townhouse building. I mean, youth culture for me, I grew up in London, in North London, and for me, a big part of youth culture was music, sort of music and how people dressed, and trainers, and sort of, and clubs. So that I think for everyone in that same estate, we wanted to belong to to a particular sort of culture, and to wear a particular style, and that gave us our voice. So I think youth culture is about giving someone a voice, whether it's through how they dress, whether it's through sort of what music to listen to, and I think for me that's what youth culture represents. I think it represents giving someone a voice.